The sun didn't blaze that morning. It simmered. The kind of heat that sticks to your skin like wet silk and hums low in the background of every breath. I'd just come back into town from a 2-week expansion meeting in Seattle. Long corporate hours. Longer nights staring at blueprints, architectural surveys, zoning maps. But here I was now, back home, back in my private neighborhood, back in Glenmark. I parked my black Audi by the clubhouse, stepped out in a fresh charcoal gray tank top, swim shorts, and my old beat-up flip-flops. I looked, in all honesty, nothing like who I actually was. That was intentional. In this neighborhood, appearances did most of the talking, and today, I wanted to listen. The Glenmark pool glimmered like a luxury resort ad. It was one of the gems of the development, a state-of-the-art infinity pool, cabana-style seating, fiber-optic lighting, and a juice bar that, when open, could serve a mean guava smoothie. I'd personally approved every design element, down to the imported Moroccan tile that lined the water's edge. But today, I wasn't here to inspect the pH levels or construction quality. I was here to swim. No pretense, no clipboard, just water, sun, and peace. That's when I saw her. She stood by the gate like a hawk in pearls. Early 50s, bleach blonde bob, wide sunglasses, and a cardigan over her shoulders like she'd just stepped out of a 1989 suburban sitcom. She didn't fit in, not because of her fashion, but because she carried an air of self-assigned authority. HOA energy. She didn't look at me as I walked in. Not yet. But I felt it. That tightening tension, that twitch in her jaw. I chose a lounger under a large umbrella and set my things down. As I reached for my towel and water bottle, I heard the sharp clack of heels approaching. "You don't look familiar." I glanced up, slow, calm. "Good afternoon. I live in 213 Maple Ridge." "That's not a registered address," she sniffed. "It is. I'm the one who registered it." She narrowed her eyes like I'd just told her I was Elvis reborn. "You don't live here," she said more assertively now. "You're not on the HOA member list. I've lived here for 10 years. I know every resident." I didn't respond. Instead, I lay back, eyes toward the sky. "Excuse me?" she said. "I heard you," I murmured. She paused, maybe expecting me to explain myself, maybe expecting me to get nervous, to stutter, to justify. Instead, I stretched. Then she pulled out her phone. "I'm calling security," she said loud enough for the handful of other residents nearby to look over their sunglasses and drinks. A few shook their heads. A few watched in silence. No one interfered. The call connected. "Yes, I need security at the Glenmark pool immediately. There's an unauthorized male on the property. Tall, dark-skinned, suspicious, refusing to identify himself."
I stood, walked past her, stepped into the water. God, it felt good. The chlorine bit my skin, the sun danced overhead, and I could feel her jaw clench from across the patio. "Ma'am, he just went into the pool. Yes, I'm still here." The security guard showed up 10 minutes later. A young guy, maybe 24, sweaty, nervous, fumbling his radio. His name tag read Rico. Rico waved him down like she was flagging a lifeboat. "There," she hissed. "That man! He doesn't live here. He needs to be removed immediately." Rico blinked. Sir?" I swam to the edge of the pool and pulled myself up slowly, dripping, quiet. "Yes?" "Sir, I just need to verify you're a resident. HOA policy. Could I see your key fob?" I reached for my bag, pulled out a sleek leather wallet, popped it open and showed him my ID. His eyes widened slightly, not in fear, recognition. Oh, he looked at Karen. "Ma'am, I think—" She cut him off. Don't tell me you're going to let him stay. This is my neighborhood, too. We have rules." "Ma'am," he said, voice shaky, "this is Mr. Langston, the developer. He owns Glenmark." The silence that followed was the kind that wraps around the throat. Karen blinked rapidly. I didn't speak. Not yet. She turned beet red, then purple, then white. Well, how was I supposed to— "To what?" I asked. "To know who you were," she whispered. "You didn't ask." She floundered. But you look so—" I let her hang in it. Just long enough. Then I turned to Rico. "Would you mind giving her the number to our legal department? Let her know I'll be in touch about this interaction. I'm documenting it for discrimination. This isn't the first complaint." Her mouth dropped open. She looked at me like she wanted to scream but couldn't find a sound. I gathered my things slowly. Rico followed, still stunned. But I stopped at the edge of the gate. "You said you lived here 10 years, I said, without turning. She nodded. "That's interesting. I built this place 8 years ago." The echo of my footsteps trailed behind me as I walked the pool deck and walked toward the clubhouse. I didn't need a grand exit, nor did I crave applause. Power doesn't beg. It waits, it listens, and then it strikes at the right time. Rico shuffled beside me nervously, clearly rattled. The poor guy had been tossed in the middle of a thunderstorm wearing nothing but his badge and a polyester uniform. I'm really sorry about that, sir," he said, trying to keep pace. I looked at him. "You did your job. You stayed professional." He looked relieved. "But she's not part of your job anymore," I added, slowing to a stop. "You're going to hear from corporate in the morning. They're moving you to the new site, Glenmark Horizon." Rico blinked. "Wait, what?" I smiled. "You've been polite, respectful, and smart under pressure. You deserve more than dealing with entitled snakes by the pool."
I left him standing there, stunned and grateful, before stepping inside the cool, marble-wrapped interior of the Glenmark clubhouse, the very first structure I designed when I envisioned this community, a place meant to be inclusive, progressive, and safe, not a kingdom for petty tyrants like Karen. When I got to my office upstairs, Marissa was already there, my operations manager, the one who made sure the sun rose and set on time in Glenmark. She had the HOA complaint reports printed and neatly organized on my desk. Her eyes met mine without a word, and she slid a fresh folder across the table. 7 emails, 5 verbal complaints, she said flatly. All from her. Racial profiling, intimidation, even yelled at a 10-year-old biracial boy for bringing a water gun. His mom was in tears. I flipped open the folder. There she was again. Karen D. Ellington, president of the Glenmark HOA board, self-appointed enforcer, unchecked, untouchable. Until now. I want an emergency HOA board meeting, tomorrow night. I'll chair it myself. Marissa nodded. "And the letter?" she asked. "Send it tonight." By morning, it had already begun. Karen received the certified notice hand-delivered by our staff, a formal complaint filed against her conduct, citing breach of HOA ethics, discriminatory behavior, and inciting an unsafe environment. She didn't waste time. By 9 a.m., my front office phone rang like a fire alarm. "This is Ms. Ellington. Someone has made a gross mistake, and I demand a meeting with Mr. Langston immediately." My assistant didn't even blink. "He's actually scheduled to see you tonight, HOA boardroom, 6 p.m. Silence. The trap was set. That evening, the HOA board gathered like they'd been summoned to a royal inquisition. 7 members, all squirming under the air conditioning vents in their Glenmark polos, all sipping water from sweating glass pitchers like they hoped the ice would cool their nerves. Karen arrived last. She wore a red pantsuit like she was going to war, a printed binder under her arm, makeup precise, and that same artificial confidence she wore like armor. I sat at the head of the table. No suit, no tie, just me. Black polo, Glenmark crest. My presence was the only uniform I needed. "Mr. Langston," she said, forcing a smile, "I'd like to—" "You'll have a chance to speak shortly," I interrupted, not unkindly. "First, let's begin with the facts." I motioned to Marissa, who stood and passed out copies of the incident report. It detailed everything: witness accounts, audio transcription, a formal complaint from Rico, statements from 2 women, both women, who confirmed they'd seen Karen profile other black residents and call security without cause on multiple occasions. She flipped through the pages, her skin flushed redder with each line.
"These are lies!" she shouted. "This is an attack on my character!" "It's not an attack," I said. "It's accountability." The room fell to a hush. I leaned forward. "Karen, you've operated for years under the assumption that you're immune, that your actions don't leave a stain because you wear pearls and carry binders. But Glenmark wasn't built for people like you to govern it like a personal country club. It was built to represent something bigger." Her mouth opened. I continued. "I'm not here to argue with you. I'm here to let you know that effective immediately, your position as HOA president is terminated." Gasps. "No!" she barked, standing. "You can't do that!" "I can, and I just did." Marissa placed the new document before her, signed, sealed. "I've also submitted a request to permanently ban you from Glenmark common areas, including the pool, gym, and clubhouse, until you complete a diversity and ethics review with a third-party mediator." She looked around the room for support. The board members avoided her eyes. "You're destroying my reputation!" she hissed. I stood, pushing my chair back quietly. "You did that yourself." In the days that followed, something extraordinary happened. Residents, especially Black, Latino, Asian, and multiracial families, began to come forward. Stories poured in: how Karen scolded their kids, how she questioned whether they belonged, how she made life feel less welcome. So we launched the Glenmark Belongs initiative. I held open Q&A sessions, invited residents to workshops on cultural inclusion, hired a community advocate. We painted the clubhouse mural with kids from the neighborhood, a sea of handprints in every color, circling the words, "Welcome means everyone." We also renamed the pool, the Glenmark Harmony Pool. Karen never showed her face again at a board meeting. Her house stayed dark most days. Eventually, she sold it and moved across town, to a place where perhaps her rules could still make her feel important. 3 months later, on a warm summer evening, I returned to the Harmony Pool. Kids splashed, teenagers laughed. A father with dreadlocks taught his little girl how to float. No one stared, no one flinched. As I lay back under the same umbrella I'd sat beneath months ago, a woman walked past holding a tray of lemonade. She stopped. "Hey," she said with a grin. "You're the one who owns this place, right?" I smiled. "Guilty. Thanks for making it feel like home again." I nodded. "You're welcome," I said. "It always should have been." The sun dipped low, glinting off the water in shimmering waves, and for the first time in a long time, it felt like peace. Not the kind you sit in quietly, but the kind you build.